A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon keep, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The dungeon labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
Presentation.
This is the Daredevil series from Iowa Speedway, only on Turn 200. Welcome into tonight's coverage of the Daredevil series, round number 3 of the 6th season, and it takes place for the 3rd time in series history at Iowa Speedway, but it is the first time it has taken place on the newly scanned version of the track, with the quote-unquote grip patches in the middle of the turns. This is a dastardly combination here this evening that is going to challenge these drivers. And 100 laps to settle it here this evening. They can click off quick, or they could not if we have a lot of cautions, which we have been known to do here in the past. Hello, everybody. It's Tommy Cook. I've got this one by myself here this evening. Matt Williamson is headed to Bristol Motor Speedway in real life. And hopefully we can catch him in the chat here at some point this evening. But let's take a look at the point standings after Knock Hill Circuit last week. We've got a tie for the top of the standings. Brody Gunter and James Watson, each with a first and a third on the season. And they lead jointly at the top of the standings. Dakota DeMade, Rhett Nichols, Matt Schlosser, the top 5 in the standings. Christopher Kresge, Joshua Rutherford, Kyle Allen, Matt Short. And then a tie for 10th with Zach M. Spacker and Corey Rutherford. Most of these drivers are here this evening. Some of them are not. A couple of drivers making their first appearance of the season this evening. As you can tell already, this is not our normal qualifying procedure, and this was, can't say this was planned either, to be honest. It is group qualifying underway here at the short track at Iowa Speedway. Got about 3 minutes left to go, and the top time could come from any one of our 18 drivers that are out there on the track at any given moment. Drivers out there trying to make as many laps as possible to run this fuel tank down, but also to try and keep their tires, more specifically their right front tire, fresh. Let's ride on board with Matt Wagner, who has multiple oval victories in his day. Got to meet Matt at the Sim Gaming Expo in Schaumburg, Illinois, this past Saturday. And, got to work with him a little bit on track in the Elite Sim Racing Group Exhibition Xfinity Series race at Daytona. That was a lot of fun until I got crashed. Wagner, limited practice time here, coming out straight into group qualifying, but not a surprise to see him in the top 10 on the timing charts. Finally gets a free night to come out and race with us here with the Daredevil series. And you can hear him having to roll out of the throttle in corner exit there. This car, for whatever reason, it turns 3 and 4. It just does not want to cooperate. Have to go down and grab a gear here into 1 and 2. Not the friendliest setup, and it was worked on until the wee hours of the morning this morning. But, you can't win them all. Right now, top of the board for Nate Siefker with a minute to go. And just as I say that, the defending Iowa Speedway winner here with the Daredevil Series, Dakota DeMade, sniffs a draft and will take provisional pole. Very strange that we've had, I think, 19 drivers in the first 2 races this season, and now this has 18 in it, unless somebody hops in with a minute left to go. Very consistent car counts thus far this season. Corey Rutherford was fast in practice, 9th quickest on the board right now. And he has turned the most laps in this qualifying session before that brush with the wall there. This is his 27th lap of qualifying, and he is going to call it good there, spinning down onto the bottom side of the track. As time is winding down, you'll get one untimed lap from the last, or rather one time lap from the last time you cross the stripe before the clock strikes 0. So anybody that crosses from now on, this will be their final lap. For anybody that's still on a lap, they should get one more here to Nate Siefker. Siefker trying to catch a draft to reclaim the top spot. Just happy to have him back in the field here tonight and at what will be his home track, essentially. He's an Oski man, so he's somewhere at home here in Iowa. Dodging a couple late spinners, and that will nullify that one, as I'm sure he probably won't be too happy about that, and still getting banged around here. We'll take out Paul Ellison for good measure. So that should be the end of qualifying here, and we'll be ready to go for 100 laps here this evening at the Iowa Speedway. And the session will switch over. It is time to roll with tonight's starting grid. Dakota DeMade, his second pole of the season. What on earth is that team name? Oh, my Lord. Okay, DeMade with the pole. Nate Siefker going to line up to his outside. Brady Gunter and Zach Flaum on row number 2. It's Christopher Hill and Victor Aldrich on the 3rd row. Rhett Nichols and James Watson on row 4. J.W. Miller and Corey Rutherford will round out your top 10 starters. Row number 6, Joshua Rutherford on the inside of Matt Wagner, Christopher Kresge, and Paul Ellison on row 7. Matt Schlosser, Nicholas Asidra back in the lineup for the first time this season. He will start in the 16th spot with Kyle Allen and Austin Lafferty. The rest of your starting order here. Sun continues to set here in Newton, Iowa. 78-degree track temperature. I would imagine this will come down a little bit as the ambient temperature will continue to fall, but maybe not much more than that. Going to be very interesting to see what happens as the lights start to come on around the Iowa Speedway. Beautiful day here. Lots of new and interesting changes made to really just iRacing in general over the last 24 hours. Some setup changes needed. I don't even know if they did anything to the Lotus 79. Maybe they did something to the Iowa Speedway, but this setup was not and still really is not in a good spot. So this is going to be a very tricky race for these drivers as they begin to roll off of pit road. I want to say hello to anybody that is hanging out with us here this evening. Joshua Rutherford is rolling out onto the speedway. We got another pace lap, or we should get another pace lap here anyway. This is a short track. 7/8 of a mile. That is, I think, 0.88 miles, if I'm not mistaken, here around Newton, Iowa. It's the fastest short track according to the track itself. I mean, it is pretty fast, not going to lie. Region speeds in the mid-170s here into the corners. Not quite IndyCar fast, but it's pretty zippy. Garrett Rainey gets to watch this race from on high this evening. Hello to the Rain Man. Appreciate him stepping in to do some race control this evening for us. Corey Rutherford also volunteered to step up and punch the controls if need be. So thanks to Corey. 100 laps here tonight, round number 3 of the season. We've got an off week for the Daredevil Series next Wednesday night, and then it is doubleheader night over at Gateway Worldwide Technology Raceway. We'll do the infield road course first and then follow it up with a race that is always a banger, Gateway, the Oval. So we'll see you back in a couple weeks' time for that. Well, we got 100 laps of racing here this evening before we can start thinking about Gateway. Green flag is out. We are underway here for the Daredevil Series at Iowa. Into turn number 1 they go from the outside pole. Here goes Nate Siefker. Cold tires. Everybody's going to be tight. A lot of drivers flirting with the wall. I think Watson caught it down the backstretch. Fanning out 2 and 3 wide. 4 wide there for third. As DeMade tries to get out of this hole, Gunter is up to second. Watson again drifting up the track. Everybody around the top side. Nate Siefker with the lead will be hoping to manipulate the air well enough to keep Brody Gunter and everybody else behind him as multiple drivers there slapping the wall. Here coming to lap number 3. Matt Wagner having to feather the throttle here. Still on cold tires as he will slip by a driver in the wall there. That was Zach Flaum. Aero wash, not normally a thing we talk about here on the 79, but this car just does not want to turn. Really, even in clean air, it doesn't want to turn. No matter what we threw at it, we just could not make it go. Not a surprise, Siefker in the cleanest air out of everybody is putting up the purple laps. Personal best for Gunter last time around. He'll try to continue to work in towards Nate Siefker. Here is a side-by-side scrap for the 5th position. Christopher Hill on the inside of Rhett Nichols. Nichols roll in the middle. Everybody in the grip patch here. And Nichols comes away with the spot. Hill back to 6th. Wagner in 7th, up 5 spots from where he took the green. All 18 drivers make the call and make the start. Here's Nicholas Isidro from back in the pack. He's also up 5 positions, looking to put Joshua Rutherford away here for 11th. Rutherford with a little momentum from the top side, still hanging on to the spot. Brody Gunter 0.4 of a second behind Nate Siefker. Just about equal lap times there for the top 2 last time around. We thought this might be a thing that we have to worry about. It certainly is going to be tonight. Right front tire wear. Don't normally talk about it. It is definitely something these drivers will have to think about with a pit stop looming ahead. 25% fuel capacity. These drivers will definitely have to make one stop at least, if not multiple, for the tires. We'll jump back a little bit further, keep our eye on the battle for the lead, but they're side by side here for spot number 8. That is Victor Aldrich on the inside of Zach Flaum. Flaum trying to get away here from the top, and he will pull out to the 8th position for the moment. Gunter firmly in the wash here. That's right on board. Gunter doing everything he can to try and find his way into this bubble that Nate Siefker's throwing up behind him here. But in 5th gear, just a couple notches too low to generate a big run. Victor Aldrich now has let J.W. Miller through, and now we'll have Nicholas Isidro coming up behind him, perhaps, if Isidro can get cleared up here with Joshua Rutherford. They continue to battle hard here, wheel to wheel. Isidro might finally have this spot from the top side. So Nate Siefker leading, Brody Gunter in 2nd. Both of these drivers are pulling away from Dakota DeMade in the 3rd position. James Watson, Rhett Nichols, the top 5. Further back, Christopher Kresge, Corey Rutherford side by side. Kresge on the top side, Rutherford down low. Both drivers in the top 10 in the standings. Kresge drifting right up to the wall there, but will complete the pass. Matt Wagner and Zach Flaum drawing nearer. That is Wagner in the 7th spot trying to fend off Flaum, who is on the charge. 5th of the way through this one already. We will be this time by anyway as we complete the 20th lap. Siefker's been able to keep Gunter back by 4/10. I will say, I don't think we've ever had to do it here before because normally somebody will lose the right rear tire on this car during the run. But if we have to have green flag pit stops here, this car unloads very unsteadily. We more than likely will see a driver spin trying to get onto pit road, onto the track. And from there, it could very well be absolute chaos. J.W. Miller in the 9th position just clocked a personal fastest lap. Really only about 0.2 off of the overall best lap. So as these fuel loads get lighter, this car should be driving a little bit better except for the right front tire, which is the opposite of the norm. Gunter closing in, though, on Siefker, and now is starting to apply some pressure here down to a car length or less. And we've got an issue. Christopher Kresge has exploded at turn number 4. That car is absolute toast. And the yellow flag is out for the first time here at the quarter mark. Lap 25. Let's take a look at it here. That's Kresge up top. Corey Rutherford down low. We'll see if these two come together. Oh, some netcode there. Netcode again. And netcode is what will do Christopher Kresge, the patriarch, in here. That is, unfortunately, a staple and not a good one of the Daredevil series. Oh, an absolute bummer, to say the very least. Let's go kickpot cam here with Corey Rutherford. Watch the right front tire. Yeah, I mean, they had a foot between them. Maybe a little bit more. So I don't get that one bit. But it is what it is. I'm seeing a notification here that Nate Seifker crashed. I'm assuming he's just going to stop here for the pace truck. And that is exactly what has happened. So we'll come back to the live view. I believe Seifker, Nichols, and Wagner have stayed out. Everybody else is going to come down pit road. And Dakota DeMade looks like is up on the jack, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he is. So, tires going on. It hardly ever happens in the Daredevil series, but it is happening right now. Tires being put on the Daredevil series Lotus 79s. James Watson, or rather Brody Gunter, wins the race off of pit road. Watson comes out behind him. Joshua Rutherford, Dakota DeMade, the top 5. Matt Schlosser, Christopher Hill, and Kyle Allen will round out the actual top 10 now. But it'll be Seifker, Nichols, and Wagner out there on the track with the older rubber, but still with track position. Seifker has led every lap thus far. Brody Gunter was really hounding him, though, for that top spot. Had found a way to slice in to that about 0.3 of a second bubble that Seifker was maintaining. So the leader not infallible, throwing up dirty air, but you got to be able to complete the pass. We have not seen it yet. Some things coming up here in the next few days. Tomorrow night, it's the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series. They'll be live from Kansas. And then round 2 of the Car Inside In-Season Tournament in the 10th season of the Venom Truck Series will be taking place at the Nashville Super Speedway next Tuesday night. Again, a reminder, the Daredevil series is off next Wednesday. I believe FIS starts next Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. I would imagine a lot of the Daredevil drivers will be partaking in that. I know one that definitely will, because he has to. Zach Flem. Flem just outside of the top 10. I believe the lights are off on the pace truck, and it is single file restarts here in the Daredevil series. This is going to be very interesting. It'll be our first single file restart of the season. We go double file at the 2-mile ovals, and we don't have restarts at the road courses. So we'll see how this goes. Back to green here at Iowa. Good enough getaway here for Seifker. Some drivers on the fresh tires feeling some pain here early, as DeMade will lose the spot. Watson trying to fend off Brody Gunter as they continue to work side by side here for 4th. And now for the lead, Rhett Nichols has closed in on Seifker. He's got him to less than a car length. Tell you this much, the lighting is not doing this many favors. It doesn't look quite crisp. Hoping the lights will kick on here before too much longer and we can at least flood this with some artificial light. 1/3 of the way into this one as we put lap 33 on the board. Seifker's led them all, but he is under fire here from Rhett Nichols. Nichols has a run. Where will he go? He's going to take it to the top side here in 3 and 4. Again, he'll try and swing underneath of Seifker. But he's still generating some momentum. A little bobble there from Seifker. Matt Wagner's joining the party. Wagner going up high, using that IR-18 instinct to try and make sure he can just get some clean air to the nose of this car. Doesn't matter if it's the fast way around, he just needs some downforce on the 6 machine. Nichols not let it up. Trying to see if there's any way he could get through Nate Seifker. Nichols right up against the wall. A lot of space through the pack. Paul Ellison and Austin Lafferty are coming together here for 13th. But they're about as close as our top 2, and that's really the closest battle we've got. Seifker, a little bobble there off the apron. Nichols closes back in. But just can't pull up alongside. Top 3 have broken away, at least for now. Brody Gunter. Looking at the lap times, Gunter, his lap times are a little bit better than your top 3. Could very well have a 4-car group here in just a few laps' time. Well, the skies look awful. It looks like it's about to rain. It literally can't because it's an oval. But, it looks like a good old thunderstorm here in the summers in Iowa. Oh, Seifker into the wall. The handle is definitely going away on the 2-car. Top 3 nose to tail. Wagner still favoring the middle to high line. Seifker just trying to play defense here. We're only 18 minutes in, and we're just a couple laps away from hitting the halfway mark. Wagner fading a bit. Still plenty close, though. It's very funny. Rhett Nichols found himself on the opposite side of this situation. In round number 3 of last season, he led every single lap at Phoenix, Legacy Phoenix, that is. And he had company the whole race, but nobody could find their way through. It was difficult to launch a pass. I would argue he's already had better luck trying to find a way through on Siefker than anybody had trying to find a way through on him last season at Phoenix to pick up that victory. The first of his career with the Daredevil series. And we're officially halfway home. 51 of 100 on the board. Things could change in an instant at the front of this field. We'll jump back if we have to. Let's take a look at Matt Schlosser back in 7th. Trying to catch back up to Joshua Rutherford here. I'm not sure if he's having much luck. We'll go back up to the front as Nichols continues to hang right here. Slower car, the leaders are coming up on here. I think it's Victor Aldridge, so I'm not sure what happened to Victor, but he is well off the back of the pack. See, Nichols again with a run, has to roll out of it, pulled right up there to Nate Siefker. More and more drivers starting to tickle the wall a little bit. Brody Gunter, Zach Flaum. Yeah, right on cue. Garrett Rainey there in the chat says Gunter with a 2X a few laps ago, and indeed his lap times have backed off a little bit. Still 1 second behind the race leaders here, making 1.4 actually. This man Nichols is absolutely giving it all he's got here. We'll see how Aldrich factors into this here. He's staying up to the top side. Nichols. Oh, as Siefker is going to pit. Brings it to pit road. He's out of control. He gets it down to pit road speed, though. So even with a couple caution laps in there, we knew Siefker was going to have to bring it down to the pits. Now, Nichols and Wagner will also have to do this. But how long can they stretch it for? That's the question. And in theory, everybody else should have to come back down as well. Whoa, Nichols! Wow, has to track it down to the inside paint there. Not to crash, and he is still wrecking loose. Matt Wagner to the lead. Nichols just trying to survive. And cool down this right rear tire now. Nichols will be bringing it to pit road this time. Oh, no! He's around. I don't think he hit the wall. Oh, man. Yeah, that car was wrecking loose out of nowhere. Here comes Wagner, and Wagner's around. So Siefker with the best entry of the bunch. As problems for Nichols and Wagner, they both keep it off of the racing surface, and as far as I can tell, they've not incurred any penalties. So the new leader now is Brody Gunter. James Watson is in second. Matt Schlosser and Joshua Rutherford now battling for the podium position. Still with pit stops to go, though, assuming we make it that far. Wild sequence there. Nichols and Wagner are headed back out to the track. So these drivers all pit around lap 30, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody else that is still out on the track. So they can take it maybe to lap 85? Maybe 90. That's really close. Now, despite the spin, Rhett Nichols still came out ahead of Nate Siefker. Wondering if Siefker took tires. As caution is out, we've got an issue with Matt Wagner, it looks like. And potentially Paul Ellison as well. And that will certainly shake things up. Let's take a look here. This is Ellison. Wagner ahead. Oh, gets turned down into Wagner. Ellison trying to woe up. Couldn't get it there in time. That was Corey Rutherford that went spinning by as well. Let's back this up and watch this from the kickpot cam here. Paul Ellison. I mean, you could tell as soon as Paul realized what was happening there, he was out of the gas and on the brakes, and that car was even just kind of sliding. So, I guess the best news there is that's not a lot of damage for any of the parties involved. That will trap, as Ellison sneaks into pit road there, that will trap Rhett Nichols and Matt Wagner and Nate Siefker a lap down here. Wagner, I think, will be 2 laps down. They will take the wave around, but they'll still be at the tail of the pack here as everybody's down pit road. James Watson wins the race off of pit road, and Brody Gunter is out second. So the 2 drivers that came into tonight tied for the points lead have just kind of been hanging around the top 5 all night. And a no-time caution for the drivers that were beating them. Now the shoe is on the other foot, and it's your points leaders who are looking primed to battle for the win here at Iowa. Quite interesting. Coming to 30 laps to go. Also quite interesting that Watson and Gunter are slowing here. That's usually the indication that they were caught speeding and that they are dropping to the tail of the field. So it might, in fact, be Matt Schlosser who will be leading this pack. And there go the wave around drivers. That is good news there. So It'll be Nichols and Siefker back onto the lead lap. Wagner will now be 1 lap down after his incident. And all of a sudden, it will be Matt Schlosser in control of the field for the first time tonight. Boy, for a night that could have very well gone wire to wire for Nate Siefker, with a couple of extra cautions in an interesting spot. We sure have all of a sudden had a lot of leaders, and we might not be done with that. Schlosser in control. Remember, Dakota DeMade under the last caution came in and put on tires. Those tires might be in an optimal operating window. DeMade will be looking for 2 in a row here at Iowa. Joshua Rutherford will line up in third. Zach Flaum, Christopher Hill, the rest of the top 5 as we come to a restart here on lap 73. Schlosser fires. We're back on our way. Rutherford right up in front of Flaum there. And Flaum will take him right back, and Flaum secures third. Christopher Hill trying to get through here on Joshua Rutherford. Lots of green and purple in the timing charts. Brody Gunter, purple, trying to work his way back into the fight here, currently in 9th. James Watson, Brody Gunter, Kyle Allen, all right here together, battling for 7th, 8th, and 9th. Top 4, little checkout from about half a second away from Christopher Hill. Schlosser in a great spot here with 22 laps to go. Oh, DeMade putting the left front there down on the flats, and that did not seem to help matters all that much. Second, third, and fourth right here, nose to tail, wing to wing. DeMade in second, Flaum in third, Joshua Rutherford, a little kiss of the wall there out of 4. James Watson, J.W. Miller go wheel to wheel, and nearly some contact there for 6th. As Watson trying to pick that spot off. Great question. No idea where the lights are, as they are 3 wide. Oh boy, Allen, Hill, Miller, Gunter. Allen not a part of that mix, but certainly Christopher Hill getting up into the wall. That complicated things quite a bit. And Hill continuing to slide back here on the timing, or rather on the scoring sheet. Here's J.W. Miller, Kyle Allen. J.W. will take the spot, or rather that is Allen taking the spot on Christopher Hill. Allen up to 8th. This has certainly been an interesting one. Hello to Ryan Dye. We won't just acknowledge the chat. We'll say hello to you as well. 16 laps to go. Schlosser with some separation back to Dakota DeMade, but if any of the previous runs or anything to go off of here, DeMade is just sitting back and buying his time, saving his stuff. We know for a fact he has taken tires at some point in this race, It might be the key to his success. We're not 100% sure if Matt Schlosser has or not. Tire wear, very much a thing here this evening in a very wonky setup and set of circumstances. Have certainly put the end of this race in a very interesting position. James Watson underneath of Joshua Rutherford as the caution is out, and Christopher Hill, for the second season in a row here at Iowa, has crashed. And it is going to be a 10-lap shootout to the end of the race here at Iowa. Let's take a look. We saw Hill get into the wall not too long ago, and this time it just comes out from underneath of him. And oh my goodness. Owie. I think that's the official racing term for that one. Big time owie for the 101. Oh boy. Well, we're waiting on the pace truck. Pace truck will catch up. Caution periods just unnecessarily long here at Iowa. Was hoping that would be changed with the patch, or rather with this season build. Does not appear that is the case. 50-mile-an-hour pacing speed in an open-wheel car here is just torture. Matt Wagner now, I believe, will be back on the lead lap. Actually, that is... so sorry. That is not Matt Wagner. That is Rhett Nichols. So Nichols will be back on the lead lap. So, in fact, those drivers that had to pit off sequence all went 2 laps down, except for Wagner that went 3. And now Nichols will get back onto the lead lap. Siefker now is the only driver that is 1 lap down. Matt Wagner is still 2 laps down. So 3 more cautions, and these drivers might be square, but I'll tell you this much. I don't think we have room for 3 more cautions. 13 laps to go. It's worth pointing out. We do have 1 opportunity at an overtime finish should we need it. We did need it here last season, and it was an absolute mess. On the final lap, they crashed in front of the leaders who were taking the white flag. They had to navigate a debris minefield and still race for the win. Dakota DeMaine came away with that victory. Did he learn anything in that scrap, through the scrap, that he can apply here to Matt Schlosser and their battle for the win here this evening? I'll tell you this much, this race is still going to be done in under 45 minutes. Even if we do have a couple cautions here. It just keeps getting darker and the lights are still not coming on. This weird thunderstorm-like aura around the Iowa Speedway, which the real-life IndyCar Series had to deal with when they were in town this summer. There's that tornadic afterglow kind of basking the Iowa Speedway currently. I'm sure Matt Schlosser is hoping that it will rain so we can come away with his second career Daredevil Series victory and not have to work so hard for it. Potentially looking at a 10-lap shootout. Matt Schlosser with control of the field. We're back underway. Good start for Schlosser. Good start for Watson. Watson up to third. Already on the attack, looking for second. Watson wiggles and wobbles his way up, but it is the 39 to P2. Watson is hooked up here. Schlosser having to play defense. Watson looking low. Onto the apron. but will slide up and take the lead. Schlosser trying to find his way back for the crossover. Caution is out. Crash in the back. Victor Aldrich is upside down in the front stretch. Paul Ellison involved. And very interesting to see who had control of this field at the time of the caution, as we will be knocking on the door of overtime. So here is Ellison. Aldrich up ahead. There on the top side. Oh, Austin Lafferty way loose up and into Aldrich. Aldrich spinning into Ellison. Oh, dear. Ow. Again, a proper racing term. Big time ouchie on that one. Lafferty super loose there in the middle. Not even sure if there was contact, but at least there's an aerodynamic explanation for if they did not touch. I mean, that's a lot of air getting dumped on the 98 all at once. And a big ride nonetheless. Unlike what we saw earlier from Corey Rutherford and Christopher Kresge, where there's certainly, to quote the Venom Truck Series, was a McRib in the mix. Well, this will promote Nate Siefker back to the lead lap. Potentially looking at a 4-lap shootout here, I would imagine, if not 3. And somehow, in all that, James Watson did not come away with the lead despite all this great battling. We got to go back and take a look at this here. What a move here for Watson. I mean, down on the apron to move up and make that pass. Schlosser, skating underneath the 39. And certainly at the time of caution, Schlosser had made the crossover and made it stick. So Schlosser dodged a bullet there, but there's still more in the chamber. Schlosser leading Watson. DeMade here in third. If it all goes wrong, Zach Flaum in fourth. Joshua Rutherford has been in the top 5 all night long. Still rides there in fifth. Brody Gunter is in sixth. J.W. Miller in seventh. Nicholas Isidro in eighth. Kyle Allen and Rhett Nichols the top 10. Corey Rutherford back there in 11th. Austin Lafferty in 12th. And the final driver on the lead lap here is Nate Siefker in the 13th position. Matt Wagner still trapped 2 laps down. Rides in 14th. And fortunately, he's only going to be able to get one of those laps back if we get a quick caution and go to overtime. That's assuming that he is not involved in the accident. So I believe we've lost Paul Ellison and Victor Aldrich from that accident, and we had already lost Christopher Hill and Christopher Kresge. I'll say this much, this is not a very cooperative setup, but these drivers are absolutely wheeling it. It has been a great race here tonight at Iowa. And we could potentially have a 3-lap shootout here. Again, we've got overtime if we need it. But I would imagine Watson and Schlosser are just hoping to finish this one heads up. What kind of games will Schlosser play here with control of the field, and will Watson be ready to answer? He jumps. We're go. 3 to go. Brody Gunter with a quick move underneath of Joshua Rutherford. Rutherford to the top side, going to lose a couple spots here. Watson, meanwhile, closing right back. Illinois green waving here at Iowa. 2 laps to go, and we're side by side for the lead. Watson with the lead, trying to cover the crossover now from Schlosser. DeMade is fighting off a ravenous pack behind him. Coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go. Schlosser looking for the out to in. Watson keeps it pinned down low. One last gasp here for the 400. But it'll be 2 in a row for James Watson. And James Watson is the all-time winningest driver in the Daredevil series. Winless last season. Should have won the season opener at Indianapolis, but it has not taken him long to find his way back to victory lane 2 weeks in a row. Career victory number 7 in the Daredevil series. That breaks the 4-way tie atop the win chart with Hunter Engrav, Christopher Hill, and the great Michael DeTurk. And he's going to take it around the Legends Oval here. Awesome, awesome stuff here. Cannot commend Watson and Schlosser enough for an awesome battle there to the end. Brody Gunter sniping a spot on the podium there out of turn number 4 on Dakota DeMade. And that is going to do it for the celebrating here for Watson. Career victory number 7. We'll get a look here at your full finishing rundown after 100 grueling laps this evening at Iowa, as long as the grid will pull up. And it will. There we go. James Watson with the win. It is Matt Schlosser in second, Brody Gunter in third. We'll talk to these 3 guys here in just a second. Dakota DeMade will finish in 4th. And rounding out the top 5 here this evening will be Zach Flown. 6th place for J.W. Miller. It's Rhett Nichols in 7th, Nicholas Asidra in 8th, Joshua Rutherford and Kyle Allen in the top 10, Corey Rutherford in 11th, Nate Siefker in 12th, Austin Lafferty will finish in the 13th position, Matt Wagner trapped 2 laps down there in 14th. 15th, DNFs from here on out, Paul Ellison, Victor Aldrich in 16th, Christopher Hill and Christopher Kresge 17th and 18th. All right, it is time to kick off the interview train here, and we'll do that as soon as we can. We're going to give Brody Gunter a second to get up here to the booth. It is another interview here for Brody Gunter. This time we'll take home the bronze. Once again, second week in a row. A lot of different circumstances here this evening, though. Great work getting back up through the field, and congrats on another podium.
Yes, so thank you. It's a good season so far for Daredevil. Usually the opposite of what I have. I usually have 3 DNFs by now, not 3 podiums. So, really good season. Kind of hate it for this race because I feel like I was doing really well driving all the way through the dirty air to Nate just for the caution come out, which I feel like I actually did not need. But then play the strategy thing to get out, cycle out to the lead for a brief moment there until me and James both sped. I don't know if it's just, the early update things, but I was riding at, I feel like you used to a 1 mile an hour above the speed limit, but not flashing red at you. And I was completely fine until I pulled into my pit box, and then it gave me a EOL for speeding apparently, and then James beat me out, and I had to assume he also sped because if I sped and he beat me out, there's only one way he could have beat me out. He also sped as well, so I think amazing job of him for driving all the way back through, better than I did, because I feel like I was happy with the podium with driving all the way back through everyone in maybe 40 some laps of even then. So really good job to him. He plays those restarts really well by hanging on the inside of everyone, but yeah, I feel like overall really good race, especially for how these tracks, I really don't do well at these.
Talk about, we were noticing you catching up to Nate Siefker there. Was that something at that point in the run, a balance shift that favored you? Was that you learning how to manipulate the dirty air a little bit better, or was that maybe Siefker hitting some struggles there in the middle part of the run?
I mean, for him hitting struggles, I really don't know. It's kind of you have to ask him, or I have to ask him. But I just felt like at the beginning, Third air was definitely keeping me at a gap of like half a second, and then after a while it got down to keep me at 4 tenths, and then 3 tenths, 2 tenths, and eventually I got down to 1. But really, the only thing I was doing differently, I felt like, was obviously he was arcing it in, so I was just doing the opposite of just entering way too early, so I get all the air on my nose on entry, and then trying to just keep that left side of that front wing out, so it's just pulling the left side of the car down and rotating the corner. So that's kind of all I was doing on the long run there, but I was definitely making something work to be able to drive up to and with all the dirty air around here.
Certainly so. A first and 2/3 headed into our first off week of the season. We'll hope to see the momentum continue into Gateway here in a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, let's get some shout-outs in before we let you go.
CGI Graphics, Mont Music Productions, everyone racing out here for Daredevil, as well as 2200 for you guys hosting this and broadcasting this.
Well, thank you much, partner, and we'll hope to talk to you again in a couple of weeks. And enjoy the week off, and we'll talk to you again here soon.
All right, thank you.
All right, let's go to tonight's runner-up. Best finish of the season for Matt Schlosser and an absolute barn burner there at the end. Battling hard with James Watson for the win here tonight at Iowa. I'm sure you wanted that one better, but that had to be a lot of fun up there.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm a little disappointed. When you're up there leading and controlling the restarts, it's always a shame to not finish it off. But especially because I wanted to pick up another Iowa win to go with my ones in the trucks. That would have been pretty cool. But that was a really awesome battle with James, and he's obviously top class racecraft and did a hell of a job to outduel me there and take the win. And we were talking about how the cars felt so different versus the beginning, where they were a little tight, to being so hooked up and grippy to the point where you're almost worried about over rotating at the end. But yeah, it was awesome. It was good fun.
I mean, you talk about over rotation. Right before that last caution came out there, I mean, you were almost pointed the complete wrong direction there in the trivals, trying to make that crossover. I mean, it looked to be a handful there at the end of the race.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. I kind of told myself I'm gonna crash before I am cautious here, trying and going for the win. So hopefully that checks out for the description for the Daredevil series. But it was dicey, and it was really good racing, and second's not so bad, especially after being kind of mired in the back for a lot of it. So it was a lot of fun. What a battle. These cars always put on a hell of a show under the lights on these ovals, so it was good fun.
Well, it's been a fun watching you here this season. Glad we finally get to talk to you, and we're headed back in a couple weeks to your Daredevil winning track at Gateway, and we'll throw the oval in there for good mix as well. So looking forward to getting back there. But in the meantime, let's get some shout-outs in before we let you go.
Yeah, thank you to Turn 200 and yourself for hosting this series, and shout out, congrats again to James for the win. Congrats to Brody for the podium as well. That's all I got tonight.
All righty, partner. Thanks for the time as always. Great stuff up front. Congrats on the P2, and we'll hope to talk to you again here in a couple weeks.
All right, cool. Thanks.
All righty. Let's talk to your race winner. It's James Watson time for the second week in a row. And not only that, but Watson now stands alone atop the all-time wins list in the Daredevil series. Career victory number 7. Long-awaited one at that. How about it, partner?
Thank you. I'm a little baffled on how I was even able to pull this off in the first place, honestly.
Well, I mean, talking with Matt Schlosser there, and even just kind of the casual observance of everybody on track, obviously not ideal to be pinned there at the back of the field, but there's very obviously something around the halfway mark of this race where the balance seemed to shift in everybody's car, and yours caught on quite nicely and seemed to grip up pretty well.
It was really just that next to last caution. Like, I don't know if it was like rage power or what, but yeah, that speeding penalty, I didn't go over the speed limit. I wasn't getting the slow down message from the pit speed box. I did, so I don't know what happened. And Garrett even went back and said, "Yeah, I don't really understand how you got it either." So I was absolutely not pleased with that, because I was like, yes, this is exactly what I need. I'm gonna get the lead. This is what I need. And then that happens, and suddenly, like, I'm outside the top 10 at a track where it was impossible to do any sort of passing. I thought that I was absolutely done. I thought I was like, I'm like, there's literally no way to pass. I'm out of this. But then all of a sudden, I don't know what the hell happened, but that car was stuck to the ground. Like, I didn't have, like, I had no push, just flat out, and was able to just absolutely run everyone down. And I'm like, I have no idea where the hell this came from, what caused it, but I am not complaining. I don't know what happened, and yeah, I am absolutely thrilled to be talking with you right now, but I am still absolutely dumbfounded on how I am able to talk to you right now.
Well, I mean, it was fantastic stuff here this evening, and watching you work your way back through the field there. That one is going to be one of the best duels that we've ever had, I would imagine, with you and Schlosser there at the end. And I mean, great stuff from both of you there to go wheel to wheel and really throw anything and everything at each other there for the few laps that we got it, and seeing what could stick.
Yeah, he was. He drove a great race. I thought he was gonna get it. His restart was perfect. It caught me sleeping. I thought for sure that I wasn't gonna be able to get him, but the draft coupled with the grip was able to get me up to him in time, and I was able to get the position on him and hold.
2 wins in a row for you, 7th of your career. You're the new man atop the wins list. Congratulations. Let's get some shout-outs in once again before we let you go.
Yeah, as always, got to thank my folks for watching at home, everyone at Team Watson Racing Setups. Use code Watson39 for 10% off at checkout. Boomer Button Boxes, Icon, Sim Racing Apparel, Beast Design, ZS Designs, and Dizzy V Designs for putting together my paint schemes, and of course you and everyone else here at Turn 200.
Alrighty, partner. Awesome stuff here tonight. Go celebrate another win. Go enjoy a week off as well after a chaotic week for you last week, and we will be talking to you again here soon.
Well, it wasn't a chaotic week. I'm certainly not sleep deprived.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, go catch some Z's, and we'll talk to you again at Gateway.
Cheers. Here's hoping. Later, Tommy.
Alrighty, that's James Watson. 2 wins in a row for your reigning series champion, and the new man atop the all-time wins list in the Daredevil series with his 7th checkered flag of his career. That's all we got for you here tonight. Thanks to everybody that was hanging out with us this evening. Thanks to Joshua Rutherford, to Garrett Rainey, to Ryan Dye, Don Golden, John Kay slipping in there at the end. John Kay gets the real honor and privilege of getting to meet Matt Williamson here in just a couple hours' time, so lucky you. As in terms of what we've got coming up here on the channel tomorrow night, it's the Max VC Home Designs Truck Series from Kansas at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Tuesday night, it's the Venom Truck Series. Car Inside In-Season Tournament continues at Nashville Superspeedway back to the King's Court at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. And the Daredevil Series off next week. But we've got a doubleheader to make up for it in 2 weeks' time. The Gateway Roval and the Gateway Oval. Catch us at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for that one. As always, a little bit of a longer night, but we will get through it for sure. Thanks to everybody that's helped smooth things out a little bit here tonight. Thanks to Corey Rutherford. Thanks to Garrett Rainey. And that's all we got for here tonight on behalf of everybody here at Turn 200. Until we meet again, I'm Tommy Cook saying so long and congratulations to James Watson. 2 wins in a row, the 7th of his career. He's the new all-time wins leader in the Daredevil series. Have a good night, everybody.